Okay, so in our previous video, we saw that how Julian had returned to his associate and how now they were looking at each other and no one was speaking a word. And at first, John didn't recognize his boss because he was so looking different, and he had changed from being so overweight, so looking old, to being at the top of his health, at the top of his mental health, at the top of his spiritual health. So now onwards, basically Julian is going to share his secrets at how his life has transformed after his visit to India. So after he went to India, Julian was traveling from one village to another, sometimes on train, sometimes by foot, and his journey of transformation didn't begin there. Rather, after 7 months, when he reached Kashmir near Himalayas, he met a person, Yogi Krishnan. Yogi Krishnan basically was present there. And yeah, chapter 3 is going to be about the miraculous transformation of Julian Mantel. And another person, another character which appeared in our story is Yogi Krishnan. Yogi Krishnan is basically present in Kashmir, and he is taking care of a temple, and he tells Julian that he also was a former law practitioner, a lawyer, and how his life was also so hectic just like Julian's. And he was a very good lawyer in Delhi, and then he stopped practicing law and just left all his worldly possessions there and came here in the lands of mountains. Now basically अगर monks के बारे में बात करें तो monks हम किसी भी ऐसे इंसान को कहते हैं who leaves behind all his worldly possessions and gets to live in some we can say far away lands. वहाँ पे just वो अपने खुदा को याद करे. Like in case of Hindus, they seek भगवान, or if he's a Muslim, Allah Almighty. So in this way, the monks who live in faraway lands, one of those monks was Yogi Krishnan, who met Julian in Kashmir, and Julian told him about his hectic life, how about his prestigious life first, but then it went on being the worst of his life when it deteriorated his mental as well as physical as well as his spiritual health. So Yogi Krishnan basically guides him as much as he could, but he also tells him that there are some people called as the great sages of Sivana. Sivana is basically a lost land, and Sivana literally means an oasis of enlightenment. So there's a lost land, there's a lost part of mountains from where we can find these great sages who have acquired the secrets of a very fulfilling life in case of physical health or mental health or spiritual health. In any health, they have just acquired mastery, and now we call them as the great sages of Sivana. But no one has met them, no one has seen them. They are so mythological. We are not sure of their presence, we are not sure of their existence, but you can find them if you toil for it, if you work for it. If you trek high enough up the mountains of Himalayas, you might find them there, but we are not sure of their exact location. So Julian gets to ask him again and again that where I can actually or exactly find them, but Yogi Krishna is also not aware of their exact location. So he himself is quite old to go there himself with Julian, but he tells him that if it's the spiritual enlightenment that he is seeking, then the great sages of Sivana can be the only people who can guide him. Now Julian thanks Yogi Krishnan and gets on with his journey to the high mountains of Himalayas to find the lost land of Sivana, where he could find those sages who can help him with his broken soul, with his lost spirit, and who can return to him the hope that he's looking for. So and the very next day, just with the rising of the sun, Julian gets on his trekking journey high up the mountains, and he refuses to bring any guide along because his intuition is telling him that it will be better to go there alone, without any guide, without any support, without any compass. So it is his intuition which is guiding him, and it is his intuition that is just keeping him going on, right? So after 7 days of continuous trek, and he's just left with a little food and water. Now he's just thinking about his former life, how he was living a prestigious life, and how he had a mansion, a red Ferrari. अब वो थोड़ा पुरानी चीज़ों को miss कर रहा है, but at the same time he's also looking at the grandeur of that beauty of the region, and he's so obsessed. He's so captivated by that beauty that he's also not really missing on his past, but the both conditions going hand in hand. And at that very moment, he observes that someone is walking past him, and he looks around and he sees a a man in a red robe and a blue hood. But just on getting the sight of Julian, he increases his pace and he starts running away from him. And Julian calls him out that, brother, I'm here. I have been trekking for 7 days, and I'm in search of the great sages of Savannah. Do you know where that land is? Can I find them there, here, or not? So he tells him that he's left with only a few food and water, so it will be a favor if you could help him. So that traveler stops and looks back towards Julian, and Julian can see a very peculiar spark in his eyes, his glowing skin, his youth, his energy, his vitality is just radiating from him, and he's just obsessed with that traveler, because he's giving an angelic look, and Julian is sure that that person which he has just met is one of the sages of Savannah. And the person comes to Julian and asks him that why is it that he's seeking the sages of Savannah, and only then did Julian tell him that about his former life. पूरी story सुनाता है कि कैसे मैं झाड़ रखा है, and that was my wake up call, and now I have to search for a deeper meaning. I have to search for that enlightenment that has been waiting for me, and my intuition has guided me up here, and now I am not willing to go back. Can you please bring me to those sages? On that person, that traveler, tells him that I am one of the sages of Savannah, and yes, we have acquired mastery in spiritual enlightenment, and yes, we have the secrets of a very fulfilling life, and we can tell them to you as well if you promise us that you will go back to West and you will share these secrets, these strategies, these principles to your people as well, because we know that the world is in turmoil and that people have lost their hopes, and that they are in need of these principles which we have we can say acquired from our ancestors. Okay, so those monks are basically 100 years and plus, but still they are looking so young. So chapter 3 का एंड यहीं पर हो जाता है. That monk accompanies Julian on his journey towards the land of Savannah, जो कि अब यहाँ से भी 3-4 किलोमीटर और आगे है, so still higher up on the mountains. So this is where our story ends. And as we see that in our every chapter we find a message. So in this chapter, the message which Julian gives to his associate John on returning from his transformational journey is that every event has a purpose and every setback its lesson. I have realized that failure, whether of the personal, professional, or even spiritual kind, is essential to personal expansion. It brings inner growth and a whole host of psychic rewards. Never regret your past, rather embrace it as the teacher that it is. So up till now we know that after his journey of enlightenment, he has met a sage who is now bringing him towards his family, where his sisters and brothers are living, and where he will teach him, Julian, all the techniques, all the principles that he has acquired from his ancestors, and then he will tell them to John as well. So basically Julian बातें कर रहा है और John सुन रहा है his story. The story of his boss, the story of the boss who was once about to die, and now he has transformed into a very, you can say, a magical being. So that was all about chapter 3. We'll see that what are the principles, what are the techniques, what are the tactics which are being taught to Julian, जो कि अब अपने associate को बता रहा है, to fulfill the promise which he made with the sage before he was heading on his journey with him. So thank you so much for listening.